Ave Gamers, Farrell here, and thank you for watching Farrell TV. Today I'm doing a follow-up video for our MagSorc hybrid, as I call it. This is a pet build run as a non-pet. And today while we're doing this, I'm going to be having a little bit of Korn playing in the background. All rights, of course, are owned by Korn. I am just using Pandora to stream. Well, to get started, some of the important concepts for a Sorc. We deal a lot of lightning damage, we get away with our pets, magic damage, and fire damage. We're kind of pretty versatile, so it's kind of hard to decide what exactly you want. It's why just boosting pure power and crit often works out really well for us. Where things like Netch's Touch, it's a little specific. These days, fire is kind of the way to go for single target. While lightning has its place, you kind of want to bring both, depending on the situations you face, and different enchantments in order to see how those different situations might work out. Other alternate sets to carry with your character, just to go over real quick. Mother Sorrow, Burning Spellweave, Sororia, False God, any of these kind of setups, and then how you put them on your body is kind of up to you anyways, but you might want to take into consideration how and what you might be running where, what things are solid state bonuses, what's worthy of dropping and what's not. For example, I feel confident in my control of Sororia, so I put it on a staff. That, when I do that, I put Sorrow on 2 pieces on body, and then I have my jewelry. That gives it a solid state at all times, unlike right now with False God. I'm losing the 4th and 5th piece bonus unless I'm on my front bar. This is very important. That means limited time on back bar, maximum time on front bar in order to fully utilize this. But if I was to put False God on my weapons, I would lose the cost reduction, and if I kill anything while back there, I wouldn't gain any expedition, etc. So with that, it would be much more fruitful to run False God body, and a lot easier to gold out. This was a pain in the tail to gold out, but had to do it. Loved the names pieces. Options: Alambris, Valken Scoria, Zons, Grothdar even, depending on the situation. Why you bring them: highest single target, melee. Highest single target, range. Highest AoE and great single target, range. So you want to bring those for the different situations you run into. Sorrow pairs well because it's got amazing crit. Food to use: Potent Brew, Bloody Mara, either or, depends on the situation. Like Sorrow and Sororia, use Potent Brew, brings you some of that sustain back. If you're using False God, use Bloody Mara. If you're in a group that's really good on sustain and synergies, and you've got Sorrow and Sororia on, and you're using double Bloody Mara, you'll be really, really powerful, but it might be hard to sustain. So that's why you want to look at your group, what you're doing, and yourself, and honestly admit what is it that you can achieve best. Sometimes just sustaining the damage you can do is better than a fickle setup. Skills real quick. Shooting Star helps boost the mag. I'm not running Inner Light. Bound Aegis helps boost mag, gives me minor resistances. Crystal Frag, by proccing it, I cast Dark Magic, Exploitation, minor prophecy to me in the group. Elemental Weapon, every couple of times you hit this, it's going to also toss out an extra little dot. Extra little hit. And let's go down to Sigic. We're talking about Spell Orb. When you cast it 5 times, you launch an orb, does X amount of damage, or physical, depending on whichever one you are, within 10 seconds of each other. Pretty easy to keep this up. Hybrid pet specific. We used to have Haunting Curse. We used to not have the pet on. That would have been Mage's Wrath and then Haunting Curse instead. Now it's Daedric Prey and Twilight or Volatile, depending on situation. Greater Storm Atro is higher single target. If you're dropping the Atro instead of Destros, maybe try it's lesser single target, but it's better AoE. Try the Summon Charged Atro. It's really nice, but it's not necessarily the best DPS on a single target. But for AoEs, it is nice over the Destro. It lasts forever. But if you need high burn now, Destro all the way. You take this off or you take this off, depending on the situation. Channeled Accelerate. In a parse, a lot of people run Rearming Trap. It's a bit easier to run. Personally, I don't. I force myself to have to use Channeled Accelerate. I think about it during combats around phases. Immediately at the beginning of combat, you cast it. As we're approaching 75, 50, or 25% phases, as the boss forced me to step back, I stepped back, I cast it, then I started doing my back bar, thinking like that. Here we would have our shield, hardened armor, hardened ward I mean, sorry. Or maybe you might just run Boundless Storm for resistances, Blockade, and Lightning Flood. We recently changed from Liquid Lightning for the longer time to Lightning Flood for more damage now. And quick look at character sheet. Let's go to front bar. Here's With That Mother's Sorrow. And then little things to think about while parsing also. I'm parsing on the Atro a lot of late. That has 100% perfect penetration bonuses and uptimes on buffs and debuffs. So we can afford to ride our spell erosion a little lower. When you put it up a little higher, it's basically admitting your group doesn't have that, which is fine. Real world nitty-gritty combat situations aren't so pretty. And so for that, I've been running this. We've also been doing well with our buff management, though I might in some situations up this depending on what we're doing. For example, the tank's running more selfish gear setups as we're progressing Vet Sunspire. Spell erosion might come up a little bit more. Elfborn, Elemental again. This is our damage types. We're doing a lot of crit, so increased crit damage. This also works in conjunction with Shadow Mundus. Staff Expert, we're an Elemental Weapon Weave, doing a lot of direct damage and a decent amount of AoE. Although I do bump around with this a little bit, sometimes lower in Thaumaturge and putting Staff Expert up higher, or maybe that's where I put my spell pen from. Anyways, real quick, before the time runs out, I got about 2 minutes left. And thank you guys again while I go over a few things. Stuff to think about when you're parsing. You're not causing damage. You can activate your pet. For the next 14 seconds, it is going to do more damage to an above 50% target. For an Atro, that's a lot of time. For a 3 mil or a 6 mil, that's not as much time, and for a Precursor, that's almost non-existent. But it's still important in all situations. Always activate it before you start. Pop a potion. Allow your potion to cool down. When you get your proper passives, that 30% longer means that a potion will last up to your 47 seconds, right? And you can pop this every 45. So as it's coming down to this 20 mark, I'm going to start my parse. What that'll do is as I get towards execute, I'll get one back. So demonstrate real quick light attacks. And you can hear me in the background. Let's get our ulti up actually. Things to think about while we're getting our ulti up. Light attack weaving. Trigger. Button. Right? Trigger can be hit as many times as you want. Spamming it does not help. You notice he's not attacking as fast as I'm hitting the button. Same thing here. Doesn't matter. He's only going to do it once per second. But if you trigger button, trigger button, trigger button, trigger button, what this does is it cancels the light attack graphic by approximately 1/4 of a second. That seems about as much as you get out of it. I don't think it's any too much faster. But if that's true, then every 4 attacks, every 4 light attacks, you've saved enough time to squeeze out a 5th. That means while your buddy over here is going 20 miles per hour, you're doing 25. While you're doing 25, somebody who's graphic canceling more is doing 30. 30 miles per hour down the road while casting the same skills. So things to think about for bar swapping. When we bar swap, trigger X, trigger Y, bar swap. Bar swap also cancels a skill. So if we go trigger X, trigger Y, bar swap, same timing, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and. I guess it would be 1 and, 2 and E is the actual time. 1 and, 2 and E, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and E, 1 and, 2 and. I should be going to 4. Right? And so with that, that's just a demonstration of what you're thinking about for your light attack weaving. And again, it's really important. It's something you do on any target. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what build you are. This is all relative towards any build. That light attack weaving is what smooths, it's the oil that gets your rotation out faster. And it is, yes, it's great to think, and I've had people say this, that you can do that on a parse. But how could you do that in battle? That's the trick. You should be able to do it in battle. You should be like, you know, focus this target here for a second. And so when you're standing there and you're doing this over here and you're doing this guy and your trial lead says, started off a little too fast, and your trial says, I need to kill the precursor on the left. Farrell, that's you. Alright, cool. So we're already over here. We're already attacking it. And without hesitation, you're back at your target. What do I do here? Oh, mag was out when I came back. You know, and these are little things that you're thinking about. I'm not trying to be exact with it, but, you know, as you're going back and forth from one target, and I'm out of mag, horrible example, but you want to be able to already look back and know what you're going to be doing. Okay, well, I just put those dots there, but I'm going to single target weave on this guy. Those dots are still going there, keeping time on target while I focus down the important thing. Was it worth it to put the dots over here? Well, what would happen? I would have put the dots over here, killed it, then turned back over here, and had to reapply them, which is a waste of mag. You know, maybe that is what you should do, maybe it's not. You know, this is stuff you have to think about in your rotation. We're going to pop a potion. We're going to do a quick parse before time runs out. When you're parsing on like a 3 mil, you want to think about how long it's going to take. About 60 seconds for a 50k parse. So what that means is on a 45-second cooldown, I've got to wait till about 10 seconds, 15 seconds left on my potion if I want to see a potion at the end of my parse, before that 60-second pops. So now that we're getting low on it, activate our Twilight, activate our channel, and we're off. Oh, I didn't need to activate my pet a redundant second time. That would have been an extra. See, when I came back around, the pet's still active. This time I activate it. It's still active, so I don't activate it. I'm getting scarily low on mag. Oh, gross. Oh, the sustain is so fun. Well, there was a 48k. It was 1 minute 2 seconds. Like I said, 50k is 60 seconds. So, thank you for watching, and until the next time, Ave Gamers.